I feel like a story is unfolding. So, hey guys, we're back for game number 3. My name is Asura, and of course, here with me now is Riku. And you've seen game number 1, you've seen game number 2, and you're about to see game number 3. And it seems like Ascension is going to be claiming this, but hopefully not. What do you think?
Of course, we all want to see some more action and reach game number 5. But at this point, momentum, again, Ascension Gaming, undefeated. Kuala Lumpur Hunters, it seems to me that they're running out of cards to pull out from their sleeves to actually shut down Ascension Gaming. They already tried to capitalize on the bot lane of Ascension, but it didn't work out due to the fact that they weren't able to shut down G4 in the process as well. Rocky in the later phases of the game can be a huge headache, and that's the reason why it's such a very crucial moment for KLH in this game number 3.
Yeah, so in terms of the bans, it's still gonna be pretty much the same for all of these 3 games. It's gonna be the Zoe, it's gonna be the Malzahar here. And you were talking about this before the game started, where Ascension might actually bring something to the table, but yes.
Exactly. So the question is whether they ban out the Camille or they ban out the Nocturne. Because first, blue side, once again, for Ascension Gaming, they want to get the priority picks for themselves. So it looks like it's going to be a Nocturne. Now let's see if they're going to just rinse and repeat what happened earlier, which is picking up the Camille. And yes, they have decided, Kuala Lumpur Hunters, if they do lock in a Rumble or a Fiora, then it was banned earlier at the second phase of the game. So if they want to secure that Fiora and rely on Shiro perhaps, then they should do it now to avoid it getting banned rather, or getting taken away. But at this point, you can see that Ascension Gaming obviously had a hard time during the early phases of the game. Is this the Morgana Talia that we saw between Kuala Lumpur Hunters versus Mega that snowballed the game, and Mega wasn't able to do anything because they risk of actually getting Morgana being taken away if they don't lock this in for Superior? But we'll see. It could go either way. It could. I'm pretty sure Caspiel is very excited to secure this for themselves, but Aatrox being selected instead.
So they're still looking for a strong lane pick here. This kind of opens up a counter with the Fiora, which hasn't been banned. It was actually being looked up a while ago by Kuala Lumpur Hunters as their first pick, but decided otherwise. Like you said, they were looking for the Morgana, but well, it's not really gonna happen for now. And all these games, I believe we have seen Tahm Kench non-stop, be it on the top lane, be it on the support, and Ascension will not give this away, because I feel like even though they had a mistake with Nixstar and Rich on that previous game, it still has so much utility in terms of initiation and safety, and they still secure that bottom lane with the Misfortune and Tahm Kench.
Almost 3 games in a row this happened, except for game number 1, I guess, for securing Misfortune at the first phase of pickings. But Kuala Lumpur Hunters, knowing the fact that based on our records, RH doesn't necessarily play, based on group stages, he hasn't played Aatrox. So most likely, Aatrox would probably land on Shiro's hands. And Braum being secured as well, just so that to get that protection, good CC, knock-up, peel, everything else. He's a very, very good support. But Superior, this is again potentially KLH's last game. Now we're heading on over to the bans. We'll have to see what could be denied. AD carry bans are actually out in the open as well for the side of Ascension Gaming, because Veki, obviously one of the very strong players in KLH, and potentially the hope. LeBlanc being taken out. We'll see if that's going to be a Vel'Koz ban, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be focusing maybe on G4 at the second phase of the draft.
Something that Ascension can also bring here is to remove possible picks for Zora Veki on that ADC role and immediately go for it with that taken away from the Kaisa. So that's one thing. This might actually force Veki to go once again with this Tristana, which is okay here for Ascension, but maybe now they could ban it away, because Kuala Lumpur Hunters comp isn't just going to be looking to put all their damage in one basket. We also have an Aatrox and a Talia here, but I mean, I am looking to maybe see an Ashe, but I feel like it's not really going to be too good.
Tristana being banned right there. So this opens up a couple of things. Vel'Koz is still open if Ascension Gaming just wants to replicate what they did earlier at game number 2, because Obviously, Tristana was such a
Ooh.
huge headache during the early to mid phases of the game, but Lucian Braum, a very, very classic combo in the bot side of the map.
Yeah.
Obviously, procking that stun immediately. But we see a Ziggs, Asarai. We see a Ziggs for the first time in GCM.
I'm hard to think where this Ziggs will actually go, because now we have a Tillia who can go jungle, a Ziggs that can possibly go mid, but could also just consider to be an ADC here with the Braum. I feel like it's already a pretty good combo as well. And Lloyd still going for the Lloyd things. He's going to be picking up a Xin Zhao, and to add to that, with the phase rush rune keystone, it's going to be a Lulu, possibly for G4, to give so much support to both the Camille as well as this Xin Zhao.
Oh
This
my.
is crazy.
Okay, so Ascension Gaming taking that Lulu pick. We're not gonna see G4 in a very explosive carry mage this time around. So I believe this is one of the picks of RH, just so that they could deny some sort of utility for everybody else on the team. Shiro falling back to the Malphite once again, and it is indeed going to be Azara Veki on this Ziggs. It's going to be a bot lane Ziggs with the Braum. So I'm guessing a lot of poke as well as massive damage, but we'll have to see, Asarai. What do you think?
I feel like this Lulu pick kind of puts a little bit of a thorn against Kuala Lumpur Hunters, because you'd always want to see, an Aatrox smack it down as much as possible, be in the middle of the fight. But even if he's in the middle of the fight and you activate that Polymorph for the Lulu, that's basically a couple of seconds wherein this Aatrox is really not going to be doing anything. And that disable is really huge, I feel, when they really need to. And I believe we were talking about this outside of the cast, wherein whenever you see an Aatrox pick, you kind of want to see this Aatrox be a bit more in the lane dominant side, and you just kind of like build up that combo, or rather that advantage in the lane, and then your teammates follow up on that in the other lanes while you kind of bleed through the entire map. But I don't know, we just have to see if Shiro can actually pull that off, because it seems like he's been underperforming not only in the semifinals but possibly during group stage as well.
Well, he has a hard time in terms of matchup whenever he faces Rocky. And it's quite understandable. So I'm really, really excited how this is going to pan out, because G4 taking a utility instead of anything else, and that's going to be a denial, especially it synergizes well with very heavy duelists like Xin Zhao and the Camille. So a lot of sustained damage coming from the side of Ascension Gaming, a lot of AD most especially. Early game, Lulu is actually very painful, but come late game, the utility is pretty darn hard to actually shut down.
Now Kuala Lumpur Hunters still go for Shiro playing on this Malphite. So he did this on game number 2, and it was alright. He wasn't really the most explosive ever, but he had some good ultimates. The problem was KLH at that point was a wombo combo type of comp, wherein they need to, just domino effect these picks. Anyways, we are getting into game number 3 here. Make some noise, guys, because this could be the final game for KLH. Hope not, but it just seems like it might be, although you can never bring them away.
Exactly. Game number 1 it's a very dominating performance from Ascension. Game number 2, KLH managed to get that formula rolling, focusing more on their win conditions rather than shutting down important key players from the opposite side. They allowed Rocky to do the split pushing. They allowed G4 to keep farming. As long as Azara Veki is fed, that's fine, because they wanted that late game. They wanted that team fight potential from their squad and just contest objectives and just win and bait them over. But this time around, it's so crucial. It seems to me that as the series go by, Ascension, or rather KLH, seem to find the openings that they want. But Ascension, of course, as a team that we know that's so safe in terms of surgically, or rather winning slowly but surely, they obviously don't want to drop a single game in GCM. They want to take this tournament away from everybody else without losing a single match.
And I mean, to kind of add on to that, they have been the team, I feel like, to have the most versatile in terms of like their champion pool, their champion picks. Something I kind of want to add upon this is that if we see the compositions in terms of like a 5v5 for both of these teams, Ascension will be more of like, you know what, I'm gonna boost you in, and then you're just gonna try to rush in through the very center, juicy center of the KLH roster. But KLH's side, they have, and I mean a buttload of disposition tools. You have yourself the Talia, the Zig as well, which is really good in countering, I feel, the engagements of Lloyd and Rocky. But I mean, they have been good with the usage of this type of comp, but it still wasn't enough to kind of break through or outmaneuver Ascension's, I would say, individual solo plays.
Oh, okay, individual solo plays. Speaking of individual solo plays, we got Lloyd
Oh.
versus Caspiel.
He's actually going to try to run away. The knockup is there, so Rebecca joins in. But there is going to be the Pixie to get the kill. Forces the heal, but now Arhedge gets it as well. He will get popped up. That's 1 for 1, but they're looking for actually 2 for 1, and they're looking for a third. Ozarpeki has no more flash. He has no barrier shield because he has a TP. Can he get it? Ooh, the poke is real. And Lloyd gets 1 for himself as well, and they're going to be even adding more to that with the blue buff going to the hands of, I think this would go to Mixar, just for, lane dominance.
Take note, all of that happened when Ozora Becky was level 1, everybody else was level 2. So on the side of Ascension, Lloyd, very, very isolated here. And that's going to be a very greedy play. They could have backed off already after eliminating a couple of members from KLH, but they wanted more. They felt like they could have taken that blue buff and just screw up the rotation from Caspiel without that blue buff. But going back, consistent damage obviously on the side of Ascension Gaming at that time. We know Zig still pretty much, yes, a mage. So everybody has that source of consistent damage at that time. So going back to what we've been mentioning in terms of composition, at least the sieging problem, air quote, has been solved by that Ziggs at least. They have a lot of poke, they have a lot of displacement, just as he said. So maybe a couple of combos just to secure the kill. It's not the same as the Morgana Talia that we've seen so far, but because of the early rotation from the side of Ascension Gaming to actually ruin the pathing of Caspiel, we're not exactly sure if they could replicate that level 3 gank that he wanted at bot side.
Can he actually get it? Because there's a lot of, I would say, wardings on that particular area, and Lloyd, as he knows that there is Caspiel on bottom lane, he's just gonna try to counter jungle as much as possible. And this is the power of a Xin Zhao, is that he can actually get jungle clears really quickly, and at the same time he also has a level 3 spike, which just allows him to kind of duel most champion matchups, even though it is going to be a Talia who can just throw him back. If you miss that throwback with the W, you are in for a World of Hurt.
World of Hurt indeed, but here we have G4 just chilling because of the potion that he has. A lot of damage from the side of G4 as well. Caspiel was able to get the knock up and capitalize on how G4 has been greedy. But Shiro, is this going to be a dive?
He is very low. Flashes over a bit too quickly though, sidestepping as much as possible, but it's really not going to happen. Lloyd gets a activation on the heels, so he's going to be good.
Up.
Talia is right there on the Death Brush looking, or Tri-Brush rather, chasing them down. Does she have the range? Can she connect? 1, 2, 3. Gets it. Double kill. He gets it. He shoots. He scores. Caspiel gets a double kill.
Nicely done by Caspiel. Such confident plays coming from KLH there. Obviously, they wanted the kill. That's such an early dive for squishy target. Good tower juggling, level up, actually managed to get HP back for that last turret hit to not eliminate the Xin Zhao there. But again, Superior just lingering around the brush. Really nice plays from both sides, but obviously a lot of action going on before the 6-minute mark. It's actually pretty interesting on our game number 3, Asterai.
Yeah, I mean, if KLH just lets up on that jungle, it's really just gonna be bad for them. There's just too much Ascension gets when you just allow them to do whatever they want. And KLH is trying to match that as much as possible. On the other hand, even though there was some really insane kills coming out from Ascension, well, hold that thought. Rocky very low in HP here. Shiro can actually get a kill right now in our edge. Oh, he gets the kill, and he actually leveled up, gets the knock-up, and double kill for RH. There is Talia onto the sideline here, and he spots out G4. Maybe could even find a sneaky knock-up so that RH can actually follow up onto that. Uses the movement speed burst, and he should be fine in lane, but Caspiel, hot on pursuit, could find an opening, and Rocky, he's not up. He goes through, and Rocky gets a counter kill.
Wow,
all right.
So Recall wasn't able to manage to get in time there, but obviously a lot of proactive plays in the early phase of the game for both sides, and because of the recent plays that we've been seeing so far, the gold has equalized, but the question is, where is the gold going to? And obviously, we've got Aatrox and as well as the Talia getting a bunch of kills, and it's gonna really help in terms of when they decide to try and skirmish. Ozora Becky with nice pokes here and there and wave clear as well. It just means that Caspiel can just focus on either top side or mid lane and just let everybody else jump to safety. Like for example, Superior can obviously hop onto Becky when the satchel knock up just for the escape. So it's a double sort of escape route for bot lane if they want to play safe.
Yeah, and actually I like that you point that out, because another thing I want to add to that is that I think the most important players right now for KLH to actually get the gold or the kills is RH and Caspiel, because I feel like Ozora Becky, even though you might want to have as much items as possible on the Ziggs, even if he doesn't have, as long as he has levels and he's still alive, he can actually have a lot of utility in the fights. He doesn't need the damage just yet, but he can. But you know, as long as he has that utility of his, it's still gonna be fine.
Indeed, it is fine. Nixar is also going to be fine with a big Baron from that Tom Kench. Good reflexes there, I guess. But for RH though, he is having an okay laning phase for himself. Going with the aggression. Again, he's already level 7 at this point.
Yeah, good chunk of damage too. I mean, he might actually... I mean, he is losing a little bit in terms of the CS, but like you said, he already has the 3 kills, and he has been fairly trading well against his counter mid lane matchup. Anyways, there's going to be a tussle in the bottom lane, forcing the flash away from the Tom Kench. Lloyd is here onto the sidelines, but a lot of it. 4 wards in near the Tri-Brush. That is a crazy amount of vision, but you know what? The most important vision is that the vision of G4. What? He actually flashes into the wall, and RH capitalizes. Caspiel still alive with a sliver of HP, and he is able to skadoodle away from that fight. What was that? G4, well, it's bound to happen. The calculation god has finally miscalculated a little bit there, and well, KLH definitely happy to pick up that kill.
Good job by KLH for Caspiel using the Weaver's Wall to deny the response from the Lulu. Obviously, they could take advantage if they ward that correctly at the bottom side of the map. Normally, of course, Lulu works well with other people. Nixar sacrifices a flash just so that to deny the engage, but still Superior just walks in, gets a Q in, flash bird, worth.
He just knows that it's just a quick and painful way for him to die. Oh! He actually denies the E there of Rocky, and he's trying to run away. Activates the Hextech ultimatum to pincer in Caspiel, but there is one more tick from the Skittles, and it's not really going to connect. Rather, the Q there from Caspiel, and it did not get the kill, but still that will force Rocky away from the fight, and he has to back away from that one. Doesn't have a TP, so this should be Shiro getting a much needed free time on top lane.
Range isn't enough earlier, but we'll see. Rich is actually using the Abyssal Voyage. Where are you going? Looks like it's gonna be bot lane.
That's so fast. Ozora Becky trying to run away, but there's so much damage. The shield is so good for Superior, and he denies every single thing. Ozora Becky styles away from that engagement, and well, Like I said, from the top lane, Shiro gets it, and in the mid lane, RH will also get a little bit of loving from that one. Lloyd is in, well, he's in underneath his own tower, but he is in no man's land right now. The damage from RH. Who got the bigger weapon? I do. RH gets it, and he is now 5-2-0.
Quick decisions here from KLH, knowing the fact that Ascension invested so much to eliminate Becky, but then here comes the counter gang, and they just capitalize on the fact that, you know, Lloyd is one of the squishy targets, and they invested on bot lane. But again, KLH is supposed to have a very safe laning phase. Good wave clear, good poke, and Lulu.
Good wave clear, good poke, and good mindset as well. Goes in with the dive. Respects the damage, respects the polymorph, doesn't want to overcommit onto that one. And, well, of course, the Wild Growth gives good amount of HP there for G4 to even survive a engagement underneath the tower. And they don't know where the other members are, so play safe here for KLH. But they are going for the jungle.
Game number 1, the burden. Slowly, hold on, G4, eliminated.
It happens. You put the ward over the wall, and you get that insta pick off. You knew that G4 wanted to at least put a vision there or something, but he got caught off.
Yeah, he probably wanted to establish vision at the riverside there, but suffered the consequences. RH was so just waiting patiently there. But going back to what I mentioned, game number 1 was all about Caspiel making the plays with the Kindred. Game number 2, Talia. Nixar, though, gets devoured. He's fine. And as well as Lloyd is making his rounds towards the jungle here at bot side.
Abyssal Voids just for himself. He won't put Nixar in that particular area. There is an ultimate for Lloyd here, and now they're able to actually isolate Zora Becky and catch him and take him away. That should open up a dragon here, but on mid lane, RH, as well as the Weaver's Wall from Caspiel here will be activated, but doesn't really put G4 literally against the wall. Although look at that damage, 1 versus 1. Where is he getting all this damage out? But this is crazy coming in from him. And they spot out Rocky from the sidelines. There is the Wild Growth, so it won't actually be a kill onto Rocky. But finally, that Rip Herald does claim this mid-tier 1. And while that was happening, there was a rotation from Rich as well as I believe Nixar. No, he's actually in the bottom lane. But finally, they do get that mid-tier 1 for themselves.
Indeed, and it seems to me that Ascension is slowly reading the, what do you call this? The rotations of KLH, knowing the fact that, okay, they're going to do an Abyssal Voyage once again at the bot side of the map, which would mean Caspiel would be very eager to get another kill elsewhere around the map. Therefore, they anticipated that sort of play, get that punish in, and if they don't burst a single target immediately, then it's just the Lulu is there to apply the Wild Growth. And that's going to be very difficult for the side of KLH rather, because again, consistent damage is so important, or rather very, what do you call this, very commonly on Ascension Gaming.
Yeah, and they were able to use this, you know, effectively on game number 2. So, you know, they're just gonna do that once again. And you gotta give it, Lloyd, when he used the I believe Camille on previous game, he was good in able to isolate the target with his ultimate. And Xin Zhao actually works in the same perspective as that, where you can actually push unnecessary people away with his Crescent Slash, I believe. And that's just gonna allow them to, you know, kind of find Azora Becky in the mess of all of that displacement skills that they do have. But for the meantime, it's just more of them kind of countering each other with the towers. And now KLH, they know that they have the pushing power here, and they have put 4 people in the bottom lane.
4 people in the bottom lane, no teleport for Rocky if they're intending to do a flank play whatsoever. Rich, good wave clear there.
Oh! He actually caught only 1 though, so that's not the best of the unstoppable force here, but RH is looking to find even more with that. Bullet time will not actually pierce through any of the members of KLH, but clear up that wave. Although that was Rich taken away, the most important thing here is bottom tier 2 was a result of that one. Although, huge props here to Rocky as he is split pushing to his heart's content. He should be able to trade this effectively with his teammates, and G4 is going to be able to run away from that one. I think Caspiel was denied being able to piggyback right on the Weaver's wall, so he can't actually follow up on that ultimate. So is this going to be a good trade for both of these teams?
Definitely a good trade. We'll have to see if KLH wants to maximize this some more with an engage here at the river.
Oh, RH did not have an ultimate there, so he was not comfortable with that one. Still though, Caspiel does get the last hit onto the dragon, but man, you really can't put out of the equation Ascension at all. Like, if they find a slight opening, they will tear that open and make something happen from that.
Yes, indeed. They managed to get or secure the Mountain Drake at least, but for KLH, this seems to be a very difficult time for them as Rocky was able to open up the map some more at the top side most especially. So we'll have to see how they're going to maximize this bot side priority here because there is a lot of vision being established there, but obviously, first dragon of the game being taken, obviously having a hard time making the picks that they want. Obviously, that's one of the things that they want to establish in this game because of, again, the shifting of burdens or shifting of power picks, if you will. Before, game number 2 was Azora Vecchi being the sole, everybody was relying on Azora Vecchi, but now it seems to me that it's like Caspiel and RH, especially during the early to mid phases of the game. So they really want to just try to burst down a target or bait people during objective takes. That's one of the KLH special, if you will.
But for now, they haven't really gone into objective taking mode yet because they don't really have a abundant amount of vision in the map. Yes, they do have some on the red side jungle of Ascension, but this isn't enough to actually find a huge objective to actually follow through on. So what they're doing right now is actually looking for slight picks with at least 2 members. You can see here Shiro and Caspiel doing just that, but they are spotted immediately by a ward, and they don't know this is going to happen, and they get actually pincered in by 3 members of Ascension. Shiro has taken out Lloyd there, and look at that. So now Superior here is still able to actually absorb most of the damage of this bullet time, but with that, it still is a bad trade for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters because now Azora Vecchi is in no man's land. He's gonna go 1v1 against Nixar, but Nixar is playing this in by the book. He's just waiting for his teammates to just go in and pick out Azora Vecchi, and he is waddling. I repeat, he is waddling his way to try to take out Nixar, and KLH mistake that play, and they were caught off guard, and G4 from the sidelines even finds our Braum here. A little bit of the upper hand, at least for KLH, is that they find RH in the top lane, taking out that tower.
KLH will gladly take that consolation prize. Obviously, Vecchi wanted some more and probably take down the misfortune on this Nixar on this misfortune before he falls, but unfortunately the collapse is just too much. But in the meantime, it's just really one of those games. Still, the goal lead is still on KLH's side, but at the same time, Ascension is just very, very difficult because again, they have a lot of damage going on their side with Lloyd and Rocky, and as well as Nixar, and they do have the prolongedness, if you will, with the wild growth, with the shields and everything else. And at this point, during the mid phase of the game, with the Luden's Echo on this Lulu, still pretty painful, even though the whole champion kit is very utility based.
Yeah, I mean, she just has that combo, and I believe G4 has Electrocute, so that's a good chunk of damage anyways. So it's going to be very difficult for KLH to kind of find something here. They did try, but again, that one ward really just thwarted them. But props to KLH, they're not stopping at all. They're not conforming to Ascension. They're trying to match their aggression as well as control around the map because they know that if they let up vision, they will lose advantage as well as just give Ascension even more avenues to kind of, sneak their way into some very, I guess, not known or sneaky kills per se. They do have, yeah.
Exactly. Ascension, or rather KLH, has been known to establish a lot of vision on the enemy side just so that they could make potential picks, most likely head towards Caspiel's scaling as well. So if they don't manage to get a pick, they can probably rely on the poke. One thing that's scary about KLH's, or rather Ascension's composition, if they rely on the poke and not being able to get a burst down for that Talia, then they're just gonna get dove upon, which is so perfect for Ascension.
Ooh, Caspiel finds G4 though. I mean, Superior will be taken away, but G4 is very low. If someone can follow through, that might be actually a pretty worth trade, but RH is nowhere to be found. It's actually in the river, and I mean, I feel like we're seeing what's happening from game number 2. A little bit of the deja vu. Shiro back again on a Malphite, while Rocky is on a split pusher that is just pressuring outside of the map. So this is forcing KLH to go for this 4v4 type of a scenario.
He's going Rocky watching duty. Shiro. What? It wasn't a pun or anything. It's literally what I meant. He's busy watching over Rocky, make sure that the waves aren't shoved too much so that when they want to make a Baron play, it wouldn't be too punishing if they took their time making doing the Baron dance. And that's the reason why Shiro will constantly try to keep up with the pressure, reset the waves, make sure that Rocky could not take advantage, because we know that's one of the key things Ascension is very good at. Aside from very good skirmishes, mechanical prowess, it's also the fact that Rocky works so well in terms of his split pushing duties. And right now it's Baron on the line for now, but another objective will spawn soon, and that's going to be a mountain break, which I think KLH would gladly want to get, especially that, you know, they don't have an AD carry. They do have good siege because of that Ziggs, but at the same time they still want to take down that Baron as fast as they could, because again, they don't have an AD carry.
Yeah. And that's just going to be, you know, no sustained damage here for KLH. They're going to clear up the wave here as much as they can. And one thing I kind of want to add on that is that Rocky is going up against Shiro on this Malphite, right? And if you actually try to split push against Shiro and you teleport as Rocky to your teammates, the only thing that Shiro can use to deny that teleport is his unstoppable force. But Rocky, I believe, can just use his E to counter that out, not even using his ultimate there. And this is on a much slower cooldown. And if this actually happens, Shiro will be joining the fight in a much in a much less impactful way, because if he uses that unstoppable force to actually deny the TP, then this Malphite is going to be very much useless in most team fights. But that is just one scenario. Another thing that you gotta, I think, add to this one is that the longer this game progresses, the more the matchup of Shiro and Rocky will tilt into Rocky's favor. There was a point where Shiro can actually win because, again, that's a Malphite against an AD, but once you get the Triforce ready and the Hydra, it starts to kind of tilt more into Rocky's favor.
Indeed, and that's basically the scenario Ascension Gaming wants, because they want to try to bait out fights as well, and try to bait out, you know, investing in probably catching Rocky. But for now, it's a very, very delicate match. Again, Ascension Gaming is one win away from moving on to the finals. KLH is hanging on in a thread, but RH though managed to like get his momentum rolling, because most of the time you see him very effective when he plays utility champions, but now he's on Aatrox.
You can see he's very comfortable going for this 1 versus 1, but it's not actually a 1 versus 1, it's a 2v1. And even though Rocky is good in that scenario in the AD matchup, he is going against Caspiel, and look at that. Caspiel times it perfectly. Nixar is going to be joining in onto this fight, and Shiro still gets the kill. A matchup that KLH is capitalizing on heavily. Nixar goes in. Here goes Superior from the sidelines. There is no follow-up except for the 3 members, but he is going in aggressively. Where is the gobble up from Rich? It's still on cooldown, and that is a 3-for-1. And they're looking to make this even more. Rich is trying to run away here, and he is very low in HP, but Caspiel does not have mana to follow this through. If they were actually onto the top lane, this could be a straight-up Baron, because RH is still healthy. But now KLH is deciding, we don't need that big objective, we need map control, and they are doing this right now.
Yeah, they do definitely have the Ziggs to try and siege things out. This is perfect for them. G4 getting chunked down. Velcro is actually forced out of that, but again, tower down. Inner turret rather, but Rocky wants some more.
He wants some more. RH activates the ultimate and just backs away. You see that when RH was doing his 3 combo, G4 flashed out of nowhere. I think he was just waiting for like RH to go for like a flash then Q, and he was anticipating that, but RH never did it.
Fear the damage coming from KLH here. And again, it could be anybody's game at this point because there's a lot of explosive damage from the side of KLH. If they manage to try and do a team fight, there's a lot of wombo combos and CCs as well, if you think about it. So a lot of knockups. You've got Talia with a very explosive damage, but again, it's all up to execution, I suppose. Rocky has already been caught out before. It could happen again if they want to replicate what they want.
Talia is not far behind, but she is not as close as he would want to be. And Shiro is just being dominated here. Does use that unstoppable force already. And Caspiel is doing the best that he can. One more hit. Ooh, connects. And Caspiel starting to show why KLH is to be feared. When this guy rolls, man, he is just a snowball on top of Mount Everest.
Yeah, this is perfect because they're shutting down one of Ascension's strategies on Rocky, which is to constantly pressure bot side or split push somewhere else. And especially that bot side is so important, mainly because it gives you a lot of space to work with when you want to contest the Baron. It gives your opponent to decide whether or not shall we control the waves at bot side. And if teleport is not available, then you have to suffer the consequences if you prolong, committing to a single fight. And then the next thing you know, everything else is just shoving already towards your inhibitor turret. It has been done before during the group stages of the GCM, and that's most likely KLH's, shift of direction here. Being able to match Rocky's split push, punish him for overstaying and being overconfident that maybe KLH will just allow me to do whatever I want and they'll just focus on probably Nixar. But again, G4 is on a utility champion, therefore the shift of threat can be redirected to someone else, which is Rocky. That's the reason why they've changed some sort of their dynamics.
Yeah, and it goes to show KLH are playing a bit more passive here. But speaking of that, they immediately go aggressive into this one, reaching to the backline, but spot Azora Becky in the midst of it all. And RH does take quite a bit of damage. There is the Mega Inferno Bomb activated by Azora. Does not do significant amount of damage, only connecting onto Rich. But this does open up maybe Rocky to go for a split push. No, that's not really going to happen. And I totally agree with you on that one. It just seems that Ascension right now, they can't play with that they did on that game number 2 with Rocky just, split pushing to his heart's content, because now there is a counter split pusher for KLH. And
indeed, and Weaver's Wall!
Oh, he got caught with the stun as he tries to go over that one. He's aggressively trying to take down Caspiel, but forces the flash over. He goes over the wall once again, and Rocky escapes from grasp of death. But force expended as well as his Hextech ultimatum, so that's going to open up some possibilities here for KLH. Dragon up in 10 seconds, so that could just be it.
Indeed, triple Mountain Drake. So sieging or taking down objectives is obviously not going to be a problem for the Hunters this time around, but ASC at this point, obviously, okay, you've been putting so much heat on Rocky, might as well take this opportunity to get this Baron. They're spotted out though. Talia already using Weaver as well. We'll see. Red Dragon has been spawned.
Ooh,
Look
my
at
gosh.
the damage from Becky though.
That actually could have been a kill. I think that HP is wall growth health and
Yes.
shields. Wow, that was intense.
Yeah,
Good
but-
ward though from KLH. Like there was like a moment where Ascension was trying to clear out every single ward, but there was a ward on the left side that was just a little bit out of their range, and it spotted them just going in onto the Baron pit.
Look at RH, so confident, no wild growth anymore.
He knows, and he is capitalizing heavily into this one. The shutdown kill is going to be real, and he will actually be regenerating from that fight. This will force Superior to maybe use his ultimate from the get-go just to save RH right there. And there it is. Glacial Fissure will stop the ultimate of Nixar, and they are absorbing damage here. They are trading blows in the blast away from Lloyd. But now, Superior is still alive here, and he gets bombarded with the bomb combo, and Azora Becky still wins on to this fight. Bottom lane wise, there is a Rocky looking onto the sides, but he was spotted by multiple wards, and he is, well, they know where he is. Caspiel spots him out, does have an ultimate to maybe break him away. Hextech Ultimatum forces the Zonia's Hourglass, but this could be still a kill by Rocky. RX is going to be joining onto the fight, but Rocky is one quick amigo here as he is just styling on the kills. Gets the one, spots onto the mid, and he is just going to be able to get away. This man is on a rampage even through all of that. What? Peekaboo, I see you coming in from RH as he spots him. That was a really... that was beautiful from the Fog 4. Like, you don't spot him and then the poof
It was
comes out of
basically
nowhere.
hunting season for KLH. They were looking for Rocky. Imagine that chase was started at the outer or inner turret of Ascension, and he ran past all the way around until Raptor camps of KLH. That's how long that chase was, and so much time invested, only to find out that Caspiel had to suffer the consequences. And I feel like that's a huge win for Ascension Gaming. They managed to split up the members of KLH. If you split your best play, one of your best players in the team with 635, then obviously you cannot capitalize on trying to snowball a team fight or taking advantage of the strengths that you have. So initially, or in a way, Rocky is still pretty much doing his job, because even if he's not splitting the waves, he's splitting the players.
Ooh, force the flash. Mixer won't have that in a while, and gotta take note. I mean, that unstoppable force from Shiro is just gonna be on cooldown or off cooldown very quickly. And now Nixar doesn't have anything anymore, and Superior knows this Caspian as well. They're chasing him down, and they might actually commit onto chasing down onto Rich. Weaver's Wall activated, and they are forcing their way through. But there is a good chunk of zoning here from Nixar that they should be able to skedoodle away from this one. Ascension was still on the side there, but it's really not gonna happen for them. And bottom lane, Shiro will try to 1v1 against Rocky, and maybe to add some fighting potential for this Malphite. He actually builds up into a Trinity Force. A fight ensues. There is the ultimate activated there from both Superior as well as Lloyd, and Arhedge is spearheading the damage here from KLH. He's into the front line with good amount of siege as well as zoning, but it's not really going to be enough as Azora Becky finds it with the ultimate. Superior is not done at all. He's chasing on to Lloyd, looking dead onto the sides, but Lloyd is fast enough to get away from that one. And as you Ascension just denied from that one big shield coming out from Superior.
Man, patience is a virtue here, so showing a lot of discipline for KLH. They know that they don't want to make really huge mistakes at this point of the game, because they're so close into trying to secure a solid ground. Caspiel,
Lloyd! Oh, he cannot escape. He cannot just get away from that. So quick to go in for the kill. And again, like I said, there is a Trinity Force on Shiro here, so Rocky still has to respect that damage output because he can get blown up. And with Lloyd not being onto the fight, with, like you said, G4 being on a support champion in the mid, he has to deny this by himself, but he's no Belgals, ladies and gentlemen. Nixar finds the one. Oh my god, the damage from RH! They're going in, he spinned down, he was gobbled up, but it was only a matter of time. And 4 players from Ascension are down, and Kuala Lumpur Hunters are looking for this Baron. Pretty easy for them. They have good damage even without Azora Becky, just as long as they have RH. Look at him just chip it down. What the hell from Caspiel. And Rocky, he wanted to split push on the bottom, but Shiro is denying him.
G4 doing a lot of work here for just as you mentioned, the damage, the supplemental damage as well, and obviously a headache already. Such a beautiful fight from KLH, are actually maximizing the mistake of Ascension with Lloyd just jumping in, assuming that he could take on the fight, not knowing there was no vision from Ascension in that barren riverside, so he thought he could potentially get a pick, but surprise, 4 members were there from KLH. Going back to what I've seen from that fight, obviously Ascension is the type of team that still wants to contest objectives, even though it already looks super dire. G4, not on the Valkas anymore, you are on a Lulu. So if ever you want to make the same plays that happened at game number 2, it's not going to happen there. You are going to be reliant on Rocky, Lloyd, or Nixar to create those plays, and just G4 being that supplemental player to assist in their victory. But so far, so good for KLH. Gold-wise, it's becoming very explosive, and Nixar is just going to be very, very squishy in the face of RH, in the face of Ozora Becky with the pokes as well. Caspiel making his rounds towards Elder Drake.
What is that damage? Can you see how much poke that is? Just 1 Q, 140 HP.
Yes.
And I don't think Lloyd can steal this. All right, just another thing that I want to point out here. Before that, beautiful Weaver's Wall, and here we go. Team fight will be erupting as Rich is there. Two-man knuckle coming in. The Wombo combo with the Mega Inferno Bomb. Nixar has nowhere to go. He activates his up once, but it's only a matter of time. Lloyd, 3 versus 1, but can he do it? It's not going to be possible, and only Rocky, only G4 to remain. G4 is sneaky. Top laner you. He's actually on mid lane right now, trying to take out at his tower, but in the bottom lane, G4 cannot escape, and Shiro, absorb that damage, take them hits, because now KLH are starting to turn the tables in game number 3.
Oh my, that's the fight KLH wanted to start, and obviously they are going to finish this game. Rocky the only one left, and as you can see, Superior finishing or stopping the ports. This is it, Asarai. We're going to see a game number 4.
We are gonna see a game number 4 KLH. They have turned the tables, finding equations from game number 1, game number 2, and finally found it here on our 3rd game.